Hey guys, it's Tuesday, and I thought I'd rant for a little bit. My name's Brian. If you're new to my channel, Mr. Smith's Kitchen, welcome. I'm glad you came. If you're back for more, thank you. And you are obviously one glutton for punishment. but um, yeah, I'm really, if you're new or you're coming back, thanks. I appreciate it. To my 96 subscribers, thank you. While I'm thinking about it, if you're new, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell if you want to. That's completely up to you. Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, either way, if you want to. Once again, completely up to you. It's optional. I'm not here to monetize. It'd be nice to have 1 million subscribers, but I don't really push that issue. That's not my agenda. So, that being said, if you're new, once again, on Tuesdays, I just like to talk about things, life, social issues, quality issues sometimes, whatever, things that are relevant in the news, or not relevant. Sometimes we talk about history, it's always relevant, but sometimes we talk about history, current events, things like that. Wednesdays, we do cooking. Thursdays, we do some baking, we do some canning. We do all kinds of stuff here. It's basically, although it's mostly me, you'll get to meet my wife, Chris, and, the kids, Abby. Abby's always in and out of my videos. Sarah on occasion. And my two oldest, they're out busy adulting, so we don't get to see them a whole lot, but on occasion. So anyhow, today there's a lot of little things I want to talk about. The first thing is more like a public service announcement, PSA. And it's to all my friends who are out there driving 20, 30 mile over the speed limit, most of them in big SUVs and pickup trucks. If you are the same people complaining about gas prices at the moment, realize you are part of the problem and not the solution. Okay, so gas prices are based upon demand. If demand is high and they can't keep up with it, stock inventory is low, demand is high, they raise the gas prices to slow us down so they can catch up. And so if you want gas prices lower, let's start by at least doing around the speed limit. If the speed limit is 65, do 67, 68, not 90. I don't do the speed limit. I go a few miles over. I do about 68, 69 mile an hour in a 65, and I get blown by like I'm doing 45 mile an hour. Just realize, as long as everybody, and a lot of people drive like that, gas prices are going to stay high. If we drive low, consumption goes slower, consumption goes down, they can catch up, they drop the prices a little, we may even get a little bit of surplus on the market demand. That being said, that's all I'm going to say about that. Slow down, save a life, if nothing else. Another thing I wanted to say is I wanted to congratulate my daughter, Sarah. She started her first job. She's been there about a month now. She's working in a pizza shop, and she's working with me. And she's an absolute blast to work with. She's a very hard worker. She stays on task. She doesn't slow down. She gets the job done. She has entered her first job as in a very demanding field with very little reward. I know, been doing it for a long time. My greatest reward is I know I can do it. A lot of people can't. Everybody thinks they can because most people haven't worked in a restaurant. Restaurant life is a hard life. It requires a lot of you and a lot of energy, a lot of get up and go. Most people that are successful in a restaurant industry, their 60% energy is most people's 100% energy. That's just a fact of life. So, congratulations to her. She is doing very well and is very successful so far as what she's doing. Another thing I was thinking about the other day, I've been thinking about this the last few days, is mom and pop stores versus big box stores, and which one, should you be shopping at? You hear a lot of support the mom and pop stores. Try not to go to the big box stores. Support your community that way. Well, it got me to thinking, sorry, I get a drink. Mouth's dry. So my thought on that was, yes, you should support your mom and pop stores. But here is the challenge with that. Um, there's a couple things. A, as long as you're shopping in your town, okay, whether it be Walmart, Meijer, Kroger, whatever, the local mall. I use grocery store references a lot because that's pretty much the only place to go anymore other than the hardware store. But even at that, big box versus small town hardware store. Unfortunately, there are two things that can stop you from solely shopping at mom and pop. Um, we'll talk grocery stores just as an example, and we may bounce into hardware also. But with grocery stores, like here in my town, Newark, Ohio, um, there's not really any mom or pop grocery stores available. There is one, and we do utilize it. It is a Mexican grocery store. They sell a lot of hard to find things that I can't find at my Walmart, my Kroger, Giant Eagle, like chorizo sausage, which is amazing. Real chorizo, not the brat form, but real chorizo. And they sell some dried peppers and things like that you realistically, at least in my town, you can't find. So that holds an added benefit to us because we cook a lot of Southwestern cooking. That's what we prefer, a Western Mexican style cooking. So that benefits us. We do utilize the farmers markets and the little small fruit and vegetable stands that are in our town to get our fruits and vegetables when they're in season. And we go to the butcher to buy a good majority of our meats. So, we do utilize those, but there's a lot of things that those stores don't sell that the big box does. So then we go to the big box store to get those. Now, that being said, I'm still supporting my community. The people who work in those big box stores, are earning a living, and they happen to live in my town. Yeah. So, that being said, yes, you should stop. You should shop for some things at the mom and pop store when you can. But you still, by shopping at a big box store, a Walmart, a Kroger, whatever, Piggly Wiggly, depending on where you're at in the world, you're still supporting your local community. So don't be discouraged when you hear if somebody says to you, well, you should shop local. We are shopping local. Even if you shop at the mall, you're still shopping local. You're still supporting, somebody that lives in your town by giving them a job, allowing them to work. That's awesome. Now, where you're not, the one thing that you can't do is to support your community, and sometimes you have to do it. I try not to as much as possible, is shop online. When you shop at Amazon, you could be supporting your community, but chances are good you're not. Depending on where you live. Like, I have a handful of people I know here in my town that work for Amazon. They work in their warehouse like 6 cities over. So, technically if I order on Amazon, I'm kind of supporting the community still, but not really. That's so far and few between. It would depend on where their warehouses are. Majority of the time, like when we do order off of Amazon, it's coming from a warehouse in Texas, and it, or something like that, and it's probably the product probably came from out of state or out of the country, which I'm not against that. I think global economy is necessary, but if I can find it here in town, I buy it here in town. That's just and in my case, price doesn't really affect us. If I have to pay a little more, I pay a little more. I balance it this way. If I can find it in my store and I can find it on Amazon, and it might be $1 more in the store, even with our Prime membership with free shipping, two things happen there. First, I get to get it right away. All I have to do is literally drive 10 minutes down the road. I'm at either Walmart or either Kroger, but I get it right away, and I don't have to wait. That's the biggest thing. and I supported my local community. Um, that to me is the important thing. So I try not to a greater part of my local community, and what taxes are paid at these stores, go back into my community. They help, fund city programs, things like that. So that's important, to me. So we do order offline, but not very often. If we can buy it at a mom and pop store, we do. Cost is another thing. You know, um, let's say Walmart carries the same product that your mom and pop grocery store does. You know, so which do you choose? Because chances are good the mom and pop store is charging a little more for it, in some cases double, depending on what you're looking for, versus say your big box store. So how do you choose which one to go with? I guess that would depend on you. A lot of things. What makes best sense to you? What can you afford? Are you a young family starting out and you're barely making ends meet? Maybe it's best that you buy it at the Walmart. Not that you don't want to support your local mom and pop, but you may not be able to afford to. It's like I say in my cooking videos, or I had a video a while back where I talked about why we don't buy meat from the big box stores anymore. We go to the butcher, but some people can't afford a butcher. Butchers on average, hamburgers right around $6 a pound. Now it is good hamburger. It is a lean hamburger. It's what it's dare I say healthier for you in the hamburger realm because there's less fat. But you may not be able to. You and your significant other with your two kids may not be able to afford that, or even if you don't have kids, it might just be you and your own. So you do what's best for you and yours. And if all you can afford to buy is the hamburger, it's okay if you buy it at Walmart or Kroger or wherever. That's okay. And don't let anybody tell you different. You do what's best for you and your family, hands down. So I guess you shouldn't let anybody tell you, so to speak, where to shop. And the same rule applies for hardware stores. We have a little hardware store here in town, which is a great hardware store. And I go there when I can. But realistically, the prices are kind of expensive. So the only time I go there is when I need an oddball part that's hard to find. Or sometimes they may have something interesting there that you can't find someplace else. Small town hardware stores are a plethora of the most interesting things ever that you cannot find in a big box store. There was even though we rent this house, I had a spigot that's down in the basement that goes to a cistern that is no longer used. But the spout broke on it. Well, it was leaking, so I had to replace it so it didn't flood my basement. Main Hardware, which is the hardware store in town, had that exact same spigot. Why? Because they carry oddball stuff like that. This spigot is probably, if I had to guess, the better half of 75 years old. If you don't know what a spigot is, it's the part that you turn, like outside, you hook your hose up to it. That's a spigot. And, this particular spigot was very old. The plumbing was very old. So I was able to get that exact same spigot there where the big box Home Depot and Lowe's didn't have it. They could order it, but I knew Main Hardware would have it. So, those are, things you want to think about. The last thing that's been on my mind lately, this is kind of a big one. It has to do with our youth. And it kind of falls on two parts. So, as many of you know, I run a restaurant for a living. I run a pizza shop. So I work with teenagers all day long. And one thing I've noticed amongst our young people, now by young people I mean, 25 and under, is the lack of work ethic. And for the lack of a better term, I notice and it doesn't matter who I hire, they could be a good hire, but inevitably the rare bird has become the one who comes in on time, which should be a normal. Everybody should come in on time, just so you know, and keep this in mind because it'll get you further ahead in the work world. On time professionally is 10 minutes early. Just 10 minutes early. So if you are due to be at your job at 9 o'clock in the morning, show up at 8:50. You know, if nothing else, it gives you time to see what's going on. You know, another thing I'm seeing is the inability to stay busy at work. You know, now I understand, depending on your job, you may have some downtime, and that's okay. You know, I mean, even I take a couple minutes to walk in the office and grab my phone and look to make sure nothing's happened, nobody's texted me or called. My family also knows if it's an emergency, they can just call the restaurant. But I have noticed kids have their phones in their hands at work an awful lot, and that's a battle that I have to endure. They don't go the extra mile. So, and this is for you as a young person who I'm telling you, so you have the advantage now. So heed my secret. When you apply and get a job, you know, the first thing you want to do is show up a few minutes early. You know, let's just start out with 2-3 minutes early, so you can kind of assess the situation before you walk into it. And that could be any job. You know, let's say you work in a call center or a bank. You may get there a few minutes early, and the systems may be down. Well, now you know how to plan something for your day. But in my industry, you want to walk in a few minutes early just to make sure, you know, everybody's there, everybody's showing up. We got a team. What's going on? Anything new happening? Talk to your boss and, you know, your manager and see what's going on. So it gives you the opportunity to get prepared for your shift. Next thing you want to do is put your phone away. Okay, you're at work. You know, it's not time to watch YouTube. It's not time to watch TikTok or Instagram or look at Instagram or Facebook or Snapchat or any of those things. It's time to work. You know, and most bosses are relatively cool, at least in the restaurant industry, enough to go, you know, all right, we got a few downtime minutes, go check your phone. You know, or you may know that as time goes on. But for the most part, I know I myself, I love my phone. I record on my phone. I get on Facebook with my phone. I do everything on my phone other than watch YouTube, and I do that on my laptop. But when I'm at work, my phone stays in the office. You know, I check it, you know, when I get a brief minute, you know, for a brief minute. I don't check it when I get a minute and stay on it for 45 minutes. That's kind of it goes without saying. And I know in a lot of businesses, you know, your work schedule usually consists of you come in, you clock on, you work for 2 hours, and then you get a small 15-minute break, and then you work an additional 2 hours, you know, and then you get a lunch, and then you work an additional 2 hours, get a 15-minute break, and then after the last 2 hours, you go home. Not all jobs are regimented like that, but those are the times if that's the way where you work is set up, those are the times you should be looking on your phone. You know, the rest of the time you should be paying attention. You know, and I know, in the restaurant industry, realistically speaking, this is a horrible saying, but it's old as dirt. If you've got time to lean, there's time to clean. You know, there's just always something to do at your job other than sit on your phone. Okay. Another thing I've noticed is calling off on a whim. You know, calling off it's okay when you're really sick. You know, I mean, if you're sick, stay home. But, you know, just remember karma. Karma is what comes around goes around, you know. So if you use a bad excuse, that bad excuse may come true. You know, if you say you're sick and you're not really sick, you may end up getting really sick. Or you may say you're sick and go to a party and get caught, and it can cost you your job. You know, social media is an amazingly good and evil tool. Keep that in mind. And with that work ethic, you need to be competitive. You know, competitive is huge. And I notice we've lost that competitive edge. I mean, I can remember a time when I started in restaurants. Now I work 45 to 50 hours a week, every week anyhow. But I can remember, you know, me and my friends, when we first started working in the restaurant industry, it was, oh yeah, I got 45 hours this week. Oh yeah, well I work 46. You're a loser. You're kind of a slacker. You know, when I make pizzas, it's, you know, how fast can you make this pizza and make it look right? You know, that's the way now you talk about that, and it's like, what? We don't want to go fast. We don't want to work hard. Nobody seems to want to be competitive. Now, I'm here to tell you, if you can do those three things at any profession, doesn't matter what profession it is. Now I'm not talking hobbies, I'm talking professions. You're going to go far. If you can show up on time, stay off your phone, and be competitive and work hard and do it right. I'm not saying the very first day you walk into your new job, try to outdo everybody. Learn your craft. Take a couple weeks to learn your craft, or longer if need be. But as you're learning it, get progressively quicker. Make yourself more competitive. Go, oh, well, Joe can do that in 3 minutes. I think I can do it in 2.5. When I worked in a factory, I ran what was called a peeler. And what the peeler essentially was a 40-foot circular bandsaw, a 40-foot blade attached to two wheels that traveled at a bazillion miles an hour. And I cut giant 1,200-pound logs of carpet padding, okay, into whatever size you needed it. So I would take a log that was 6 foot by 5 foot by 1,200 pounds and turn it into rolls that were 3/8 of an inch thick and about 50 foot. So we had a set number of what we call logs, which were the big, not yet peeled carpet padding. We had so many we had to accomplish a day. If we could do more, better. And man, we tried to outdo each other all the time, because we were competitive. What did that get us? It got us pay raises, got us recognition with the company we worked for. It got us to, because we were able to outdo things. It got us lunches. Management would cook for all of us because we were all competitive. It didn't matter what part of the plant you worked in. We all strive to go faster, work harder, and do it better. And in the long run, we were rewarded. That's the best part. No matter what job you do, for the most part, there's a reward for hard work other than a paycheck. Although some people would tell you that's what you get paid for. And in some ways I buy that. Nobody wants an employee who gets, that they're paying to do minimum work. You want maximum effort. So if you can start working on that, this is all for my young friends. Now, as parents, I'm talking to you. I happen to be one of them. Start teaching your kids at a young age work ethic and being competitive. Not being aggressively competitive. Don't knock the kid down because he's almost beat you in a race. But to be competitive, to be the best. Now, with that, while you're teaching them those ethics of how to, be to school on time, how to do your homework, how to pay attention in class, how to get the best grades, while you're nurturing them in that aspect, which you should be, even if it's just a quick conversation. Hey, did you get your homework done? What do you got left to do? How was school today? Have that conversation. That sets the tone for when they come into the workforce. We're losing that somewhere along the way, and it's making my job a lot harder. I'm not going to lie. It makes most companies, their managers' jobs a lot harder when we're not teaching the things we need to be teaching them. I get single parenting, working hard, not home a whole lot, but it literally takes 5 minutes with your kids to say, hey, how was school today? Did you have any homework? What did you learn? Or better yet, when I taught Sarah how to do dishes, here's how I taught her how to do dishes. First, I taught her how to do dishes. And then I said, it's taking you an awful long time to do those dishes. Think we could do them a little quicker? Yeah, I bet I could do them a little quicker. And we made it a game. When I would do dishes at night after dinner, I would do them as fast as I possibly could and keep them clean. And then the next night, and we would both inspect them. We would both look at the dishes, as I dried them. Be like, look, this plate's clean, And then the next night, she would do the same thing, as quick as she could, and boom, dishes are done. I did the same thing with Taylor, my oldest daughter. That's the way, that's the way you want to do it. You want to, okay, so as a parent, you want to start instilling that when they're little, whether it be clean their room, pick up their toys, do the dishes, take out the trash, whatever. That's what chores are for. Chores are the seedlings to work ethic that they will use when they come to that stage where they're looking for their first job, which is me, right? Most first jobs are either in retail or restaurant. So I'm kind of like their first real job. Although, I mean, really, as a parent, your child is getting their first real job from you by giving them chores. And if so inclined, reward them with an allowance, not a big allowance. But by not showing and teaching your children this at a young age and starting them young, you're doing them no favors and disjustice. I mean, we have to stay actively involved with our kids. Sometimes I think, and my parents did this too, and so did we. We use things as crutches so we can get stuff done around the house. So like when I was younger, my mom, when she wanted to get the house cleaned and good and clean to keep me out of the way, she'd turn on the TV. Saturday mornings were great; cartoons were on. Or we'd get kicked out of the house at the beginning of the day and not allowed back in the house until the sun went down. Even if we wanted to come in the house, so they could get things done. Which is great. You need some playtime, but don't do that all the time. Instead, involve your kids. When I cook, I try to involve the kids. When I can, I try to involve the kids if I can. When I bake, me and Sarah do that all the time. Me and Taylor used to do things together before she moved out into the adult world. Me and Abby have started that process. Be involved as much as you can. That helps establish that work ethic. All right, so I hope you got something out of that. Whether it be the mom and pop versus big box store or the work ethic. The work ethic is very important only because I see it going away, and that scares me. We need to start instilling that as a kid, because I'm here to tell you, trying to install work ethic into a teenager, it can be done, but man, it's a lot of work. And with the way things are going at the moment in society, there's enough going on teaching work ethic. Not that it can't be done. I'm doing it now. But let's lighten the load a little on our next generation of managers and start teaching our youngins now work ethic. Be on time. Stay off your phone. Stay engaged. Stay focused. All right. Part of that's staying off your phone. Being competitive. Wanting to be the best and outdo in a friendly manner. Outdo the guy sitting next to you. Remember, you want to do 101 widgets if they were doing 100. And that will get you rewarded. Parents, start teaching them young. All right, that's all I got for today. I love you. I love you very much. This is why I tell you the things I do. Tell somebody else you love them and let them know how very much you love them. I guarantee it'll make their day wonderful. They'll feel so much better. It's a great way to start your day when you hear that. Tomorrow, we're doing Cajun chicken pasta. I think it'll be fantastic. As always, new recipe. Haven't even tried it before. We're going to make it together for the very first time, as always. And then Thursday, I haven't decided yet. But we're going to do something. Might be a cake, might be a pie. Hard to say. But anyhow, it is time for me to get off of here. I am going to start a bunch of canning. I have done my work for the day. I'm glad you stopped by so we could have this conversation. Now I got to do some canning. Got a lot of canning to do. Canning season is upon us. All right. Love you. Talk to you later. I'll see you tomorrow for Cajun chicken pasta. All right. Have a great day.